Welcome back, everybody. It's Cree Rama from Junk Journal Divas. Okay, guys, so I'm starting off. I don't know if you saw my last video, if you follow my channel, but I was using regular tissue paper and sewing pattern paper to make Christmas wreaths, and I did make some trees also. And I thought if I used green paper, it probably would be a lot easier. So that's what I decided to do now. So I have my cone shape on my paper, and all I did was draw a triangle, and then I kind of folded my paper so that I could kind of bend it in a little bit and make the cone shape. So I'm just cutting off the bottom a little, and you will see in a minute here what I mean about that shape. So I'm also using a couple pieces of the white. I thought it could look like snow. So here where I made the folds for my tree, I'm just adding some double-sided sticky tape. And then I'm going to press this down really well onto my book cover that I'm using as the base. And there you can see how I just kind of bent that in to make my cone shape for my tree. And I'm just pressing a little bit of tissue paper up under there just to give it a little bit more structure and hold. And then I'm starting off just adding some glue, and I'm going to put my tissue paper down and then some glue on top of it, just like a decoupage. And if you don't have colored tissue paper, it's okay. You can just use any kind of tissue paper, even that extra ply of napkin, anything just to add this layer. And then after it dries, you could use some paint or some distress sprays or any kind of paint spray, whatever you want to use to color in the background. Even watercolors would be good. So I'm just adding my background here, and if you can see the red part of the cover, I do add a little bit extra of tissue paper on top of that just to cover it up a little bit more. So the first time I did this, I just made a very flat bottom to the tree, but now I decided to kind of build up that area so that it looked like snow. And that's just kind of something, learn as you go, right? So that's what I'm doing here, using the white tissue paper to just kind of build that up a little bit. Then I'm just using my finger to kind of play with it a little bit, make sure that it's the right shape and everything is, fitting the way that I want it to fit. And here is where I'm just adding a little bit more of the white tissue paper to cover up that red. And now to start on my tree, I'm just putting a layer of glue down, and then I'm taking my strips of tissue paper. Can dip it in glue or even dip your fingers in glue and then kind of work it through the tissue paper. And then I'm just adding those strips and working down my tree. And I also had the idea, I have two different colors of green tissue paper, so I thought let me add those both to the tree. So I'm starting off with one color, and then I go in and I add little pieces of the other color. It didn't really do all that much once I get it covered with all of my other products and different mediums, so don't worry about that if you just have one color of green. So you can see I've just worked the whole way down to the bottom of the tree here. And once my hands got really sticky, I just started dipping my fingers in the glue. It was easier than dipping the strips of the tissue paper down into the glue. And I'm just kind of adding a little bit of glue on top, and then this is where I'm adding that lighter color of the green tissue paper. And now I'm just putting a little bit of glue on top. I thought maybe this would help as a sealant, kind of. And now I'm adding some blue to the background there because the red still is just really popping out. Now later on in the video, I do add more blue to the background, so we will get to that part. And this is just some white mica powder. I thought, why not? It's sitting on my desk, so I add a little bit. And I really do like the way that it looks on top of the tree, which you'll see soon. So I decided to add some gesso to the background because I just was not liking the way that it was looking. And I thought, let's just start with a nice clean background and then I can add something to it later. So this is just gesso that I'm adding. And I'm also going over that bottom part where I made my snow underneath the tree. I'm back and my trees have had a full 2 days just drying really well. So I want to show you the results I got here. So these are the first 2 that I did. And I did these when I made my wreaths the first time. So starting, and these are just on heavy cardstock craft paper. So the first one here, okay, I've got my layer of tissue paper to cover the background area here. I just put some gesso over it. And I just took my palette knife and kind of went down it and a bunch of times and got the edges. And then I tried sprinkling on some of the mica flakes, and that's all I did to this one. Not sure if I want to cut this off here. I'll probably maybe do this, and then I'm thinking I can use some of the grit paste that I just got, and this can kind of build along here on the bottom. This one, again, same thing, it's on the cardstock, heavy cardstock, and this one I did the same things except I added some texture paste here to the background. And now this one is the one I just did in the video, and this is the one that is on a book cover that I took apart. So it's nice, and this is nice and dry now. You can see for this one, I built up along the bottom here to make it look like snow. And I went over it with gesso, but I missed some areas, so it almost looks like ice and snow. So I think I'm gonna work on this one first. Oh, and you can also see this shimmer here is the mica powder that I put on. So this is a great alternative, I think, if you don't have all these products from Tim Holtz. I started off thinking, do I need all of these? And my conclusion was yes, I do. Because this is really where I have my most fun, playing with this stuff. So I got the grit paste and Snowfall. So the texture paste with sparkle, this looks really cool. It dries translucent. So I'm excited about this one. Frosted Crystal, it's an embossing powder. It's translucent, but it has more of a matte finish, so it just adds that texture. And then some mica flakes, and you can see the mica flakes there. So let's start off with getting rid of this excess paper. Before I start on this, if you can see, I missed a little bit along here where it's not white. I just want to go in and add some gesso there. So I'm using this flat-edged brush and just pushing it kind of into the side of the tree. And then once I get that area covered, I just take my brush and blend it out into the background. And I'm adding a little bit to the very bottom where I built up my snow. So now I'm going to try the grit paste in Snowfall and just kind of drag it down here and put a little bit on my tree. So I'll take this off of the lid. I'll start down here because I can't really mess this up much. So I can already tell that kind of filled in some of my areas and will definitely look more like snow. So now I want to be careful because I don't want to cover up too much. Let's see, so let me start down low here. You guys, I'm editing the video so that the sound is going to be reduced in the sections where I'm doing the scraping onto the tree. Okay, so I'm liking this. My next layer, I'm going to add my mica flakes to it. And you can see I'm just taking a tiny bit on the tip of my spatula here. Okay, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to put this one aside for now. This one, I like it, but I feel like this one's really kind of a little bit messy. So I'm not sure. But that's okay, because that's why I do multiples, because I'm not sure how they're gonna end up. I like to try different things, and there's nothing worse than going through all of these steps and then you do one step and you end up feeling like you don't like it, right? So I like to have a few different things going on at the same time here. I'm gonna move to this one. And I'm gonna add some of this Snowfall in certain areas. I want to see if it will highlight, make it look more white. This tree is one of the ones that I sprayed with the distress sprays. So when I added my gesso, it kind of pulled up some of that color. Yeah. So you can see I'm liking that better already. Make sure I don't miss the sides here. Okay, now I am going to go along the bottom here. I'm going to use a little more. So I kind of created a little bit of a bottom here, but see what this looks like when it dries. And since I like the way this looks better, I think I might as well just do my other one. So I will add a little to this. For this one, I'm going to start at the bottom here and get those edges. Okay, so I'm definitely liking this a lot better. I'm going to clean my palette knife off really well. And I have a little piece of saran wrap, so I'm going to put that just to make sure this stays moist and doesn't dry up on me, which they usually don't since I use them so often. Now, this is really iffy because I wanted to spray the backgrounds a bluish color. I'm afraid to do it. I'm just going for it. I can always cover it back up with gesso, right? I'm going for it. And I'm just going to kind of spread this around a bit. Okay, not so bad. Then I'm just taking my brush, I'm kind of like pushing it into the edges here to make sure I get that area. spread this out first. And I'm going to do that same thing over here. Okay, I'm very happy with it. This one just looks like a dark and stormy, doesn't it? So I might do something, I don't know, something to make those cracks show up more, kind of a darker version. And this one I think is just pretty. So I couldn't decide the type of journal that I wanted to do here. Traditional Christmas, the bright, you know, the red and green. And then I have this fabulous kit that I was working on. Oops. Fussy cutting, and I did just to add some texture here, and I love the way this turned out, just using the clear embossing powder because it added that layer on top, and it looks icy to me, and it has that sort of icy texture. So this is kind of a whole different look. So this, I'm kind of thinking, you know, more with this magical kind of fantasy fairy winter wonderland thing. This one I'm just feeling like it's going to be a pretty with lots of winter white and golds in. And this one's going to be my traditional. So that's what I'm thinking right now. We'll see how if it stays that way. If you happen to have book covers or something heavier, a really heavy cardstock or chipboard, I would say, that would be a great thing to do these if you want to try the trees. So thought I'd just add that. And then next, I have this diamond glaze, and I'm going to put a little bit of this on, and then we'll add our mica flakes. So I'll just start with a bit there. Use my palette knife. And here's the mica flakes. This reminds me of fish food. All right, I'm just going to start up here. All right, then let's sprinkle some of these guys on. I'm going to just tap that to get the extra pieces off. Let's see, I've got a little clump here. Let's see if we can push those in. So there we go. And again, I'm going to let this dry now overnight. There's some of the flakes that are poking out. I'm just going to gently press them down. I feel like I need to add a little bit at the bottom here. There we go. So I have some spray, some resist spray, and I'm just going to kind of spray a bit over this to kind of seal it. All right, hickory smoke, that's definitely very flat, a flat silver. Got this one. I'm happy with this. I'm gonna let this one dry. This one, I really like the background, but I'm thinking this is where I get myself into trouble because I play too much, but I'm thinking if I spray something to ooze into these cracks, it would be really cool. And to flatten this out, I'm gonna make more cracks. Do we want to try decayed? Let me see what this looks like. Okay, definitely like this one. So that's what we're going to use. Okay, so now I want to use a piece of this tape. I'm going to use it as a stencil with the sparkle texture paste, and I just want to add some dots. I swear I need to get like a smock or something to wear when I'm in here, because when I used to paint years ago, all of my clothes had paint on them, and that was a decade ago. And then I started doing this and I'm back to the same thing. And yeah, even though I'm not painting, I get splashes of stuff on my clothes, and I'm just gonna start with what's on the lid here. Okay, I'm gonna start on this side. So I'm just going over some areas here. Put up. Yes, I like that. And then let's put it here. I could lose days in my creative space playing with this stuff, and I have. This is going to bother me. This little area right here, I need to add something. Yep, I love it. we got the other one here, and I will be back tomorrow after these are really nice and dry. See you tomorrow. Okay guys, I'm back here with my trees and they have been drying overnight. So I'm very happy with the outcome of all of them. I want to hold this up. Hopefully you can see the shimmer here and also see the glitter that is in this paste. And this is the Sparkle Texture Paste. So that's what I used. It's a translucent gloss with the glitter in. So I'm really liking this, and I want to add a little bit to my other ones. I have this stencil, and I'm thinking I could add some little snowflakes with it. Try to get just these two snowflakes in the top here. So I'm going to use a little piece of tape and just tape this off so that it doesn't run over. There we go. So just blocked off those areas. And now let's add some snowflakes to the sky. Lovely. This is definitely not as thick as a texture, you know, the usual texture paste. So yeah, definitely glad that I taped that off without trying to do it another way. So I'm definitely liking this. And again, you can see here when it dries that it is translucent with just that glitter. So that will look really pretty. Figured adding some more gloss and shine and sparkle can't be a bad thing, right? Okay, I'm gonna let this dry. Just gonna add some more. Just kind of, I don't know what this is gonna look like, but we're gonna try it. I'm just kind of smearing some over those cracks. Okay, now I taped off everything except for the large one, and I think I'm just gonna do one big one in the corner here. So we're going to let this stuff dry. And I think I'm going to probably stop here because I have some stuff that I'm waiting to come that I ordered. I have some little, it looks like little retro Christmas lights, strands of lights. So I want to put some of those on here. And I have things like this to use as decorations on my trees. But I'm just not sure what I want to use yet. So I'm gonna wait till I get everything and then I can decide. And then I also have these wooden pieces that I put glitter on. So something like this for my tree topper maybe. We will be back with part 2. And like I said, I'm definitely planning on doing at least 2 different things here. I want to use this one with, I have the other cover, and my plan is to make a kind of a classic style Christmas journal. And I want to do a soft spine, which I haven't done before, so that will be fun. This one I'm going to use for this kit is Frosty Monarchs, and I just love this kit. So I'm going to probably use this one in a journal here. And then maybe I'll use this guy to do a tag book. We'll see. So stay tuned for part 2. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe.